Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're unpacking a really brief, but honestly incredibly impactful text titled The Hidden Psychology of Success and Failure. Its central premise completely challenged how I view achievement, and honestly, I think it might do the exact same for you. So let's just jump straight into what actually separates the very few who make it from the many who don't. Okay, let's kick things off with a massive, kind of shocking statistic straight from the source text. 90%. That's right, the text states flat out that 90% of people never become successful. Just let that sink in for a second. We're literally surrounded by this culture that constantly tells us anyone can make it, right? Yet the data presented here suggests an overwhelmingly different reality. It's a huge number, and it immediately begs the question, why? What in the world is happening to the vast majority of people? And looking at it like this, that tiny 10% slice of those who actually become successful, it's practically a rounding error compared to the massive chunk of people who never do. Seeing it visualized really sets the stakes for our explainer today. We aren't talking about some minor difference in effort or talent here. We're talking about a massive, systemic barrier that stops 9 out of 10 people dead in their tracks. Which brings us to Section 1, Decoding the Hidden Psychology. Let's look at these unseen barriers. The source points directly to this concept it calls the hidden psychology. And basically, this refers to the unseen mental factors and internal barriers that ultimately dictate a person's success or failure. It's actually not about a lack of resources or a lack of talent or even just bad luck. The text argues that the traps catching that massive 90% are entirely mental. They're like these invisible scripts running in the background of our minds, you know? The fears, the self-sabotage, and the limiting beliefs that we don't even realize are calling the shots. So the real crucial takeaway is this stark comparison. On the left side, we have the 90%, totally driven by the hidden psychology of failure. And on the right, the 10%, driven by the hidden psychology of success. The barrier holding that massive 90% back isn't some physical brick wall you can just climb over. It is completely psychological. The 10% aren't even necessarily working harder, actually. They're just operating on a totally different psychological operating system. They've somehow managed to bypass or rewrite those internal barriers that automatically derail everyone else. All right, let's move on to Section 2, Joining the 10%. How exactly do we escape the 90%? Based on the text, we can actually distill this escape plan into 3 really brief, actionable steps. First up, you absolutely have to acknowledge the 90% reality. You gotta realize that default human behavior simply leads to failure, not success. Second, you need to pinpoint your own hidden mental barriers. Like, what are the unseen scripts holding you back right now? Is it fear of rejection, maybe imposter syndrome? And third, you must actively choose the psychology of success. It's not passive, it's a deliberate daily override of the default settings that trap everyone else. So I want to leave you with this single, totally crucial question to think about. Are your own hidden psychological barriers keeping you in the 90%? You know, it's so incredibly easy to just assume we're already part of that top 10%, but the stats clearly tell a different story. The true value of this explainer is recognizing that the absolute biggest obstacle to your success isn't out there in the world. It's hiding in plain sight, right inside your own mind. Take a really hard look at your own hidden psychology today. Thanks so much for learning with me, and I'll catch you next time.